Many things about our business have changed in the past few years, but one thing has not: our long heritage of integrity and honesty. We've always been widely known for doing business ethically, and it's vitally important that we maintain that reputation. Business ethics are what I personally stand for, and what each of us must stand for. So let me be absolutely clear on our priorities. Making the correct ethical judgment always comes first, even before achieving results. Simply put, the ends do not justify the means. For the first time, AT&T has one company-wide code of conduct. It's called a personal responsibility, because each employee is responsible for making the correct choices in dealing with business problems. Doing business ethically also goes beyond what is written in the formal code. It's also a matter of trusting your fellow employees, being open and honest in your communications with them, and above all, treating them with respect. I believe that most AT&T employees want to do the right thing, but sometimes it's not clear what that correct choice is. And so we've put together this video program to help stimulate ethical thinking and discussion. The situations in this program are typical of the kinds of judgment calls we face in our day-to-day business dealings. And so as you watch the characters search for their own decisions, ask yourself, what would I do in the same situation? I think you'll find the tape valuable.
You know, actually, overall, I really was very pleased with the conference today.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
good.
Now, you know, I want to hear the same thing from you tomorrow night when we're finished and we're heading toward the airport.
Okay. Oh, you have a friend down here you're going out with tonight?
Yeah, she's my roommate from college.
Oh.
Maureen, I'm sorry I can't meet you for dinner tonight, but why don't we meet for breakfast, 7:30 tomorrow morning?
Well, I really haven't been bothering with breakfast lately.
Well, why don't you come down for coffee and juice at least? I mean, I know it's not the cheapest restaurant in town, but we're gonna voucher it anyway.
Well, you see, that's just the point. I thought I'd use my breakfast allowance for something else. Maybe a movie, an in-room movie.
Maureen?
Well, why not? It's a wash.
Maureen, I mean, I gotta tell you, I wouldn't do that if I were you. Putting down false information on a voucher, that's serious business. I know careers that have been ruined by things just like that. AT&T's very strict on that rule.
Oh, Sherry, the company is not going to pick up on something as small as this. Anyway, it adds up to the same amount on my expense report.
What would you do? The code is very clear. All voucher entries must reflect the actual amounts and the actual situations under which the expenses were incurred.
Okay, you've convinced me. I'll pay for my own movie. And who knows, you might just see me for breakfast tomorrow.
All right.
You know, someday we'll have a digital link-up between my printing plant and your office at AT&T, and we won't have to run these paper galleys back and forth anymore.
Yeah, but you know, I think most of our people will still want to see paper copy. Which reminds me, Lou, can you get those printing changes done ASAP? Our people running the trade show have to sign off on them. Yes, please. And could you bring our check?
Lou, once we see corrected copy, how soon will we get the finished brochures?
Well, I can bring the corrected copy tomorrow, but scheduling the printing is another matter. You know, it's taken a lot longer than expected for you to get this back to me. Now we've got other printing jobs scheduled ahead of yours.
Lou, that won't work. We have to have these product brochures for the Dallas show. That means we need them in 2 weeks, no matter what.
Well, as I said, we were ready for you.
Well, what are we gonna do then?
Well, let's see if we can't work something out here. I'm sure I can get the boss to move your job ahead if you can pay us up front.
We're really not set up to do it that way.
I got it. Just give us an invoice tomorrow showing that the work has been completed. I'll sign off on it myself.
Frank, that won't work. The dollar value of this job is above your approval authority.
Okay. Give us 2 invoices. Make one for this trade show and make one for last month's trade show. Just split the dollar amount 50-50, and each invoice will be within my authority approval. Do you know what? I can get a check cut manually. We can turn this thing around in no time. Now, how fast is fast enough? Next week?
What would you do? In no case should an invoice be split, no matter what the pressures. The rules for payment approvals are based on the total value of the expenditure. It's that total cost figure that determines who is authorized to approve the expenditure. Your schedule of authorizations will show you the approval levels and amounts.
That was very educational.
Do that again sometime.
Barb, why don't you put this on your Amex card?
Frank, I didn't want to say anything while we were still inside, but do you have any idea how expensive this new restaurant is? The bill for the 3 of us was $75 for lunch.
Yes, but think how much business got done in there today.
But remember, Jerry just reminded us to keep expenses down because we overran budget last month.
Look, let's do it this way. Go ahead and prepare the voucher. Just leave my name off. Then I can approve it myself. Look, put Susie's name on instead of mine. She's worked with this vendor, too.
We both know that Jerry isn't going to want to see this particular lunch receipt. But Frank, I just don't think we should compound the problem by doing something with the voucher that's wrong. I mean, it's bad enough you asked me to leave your name off. Now you want me to put Susie's name on? Just makes everything doubly bad. I really don't want any part of it.
What would you do?
Okay, I agree. It's not right. We'll forget it. But be prepared for Jerry to give us a hard time.
Okay, how about if I do this? When I prepare the voucher, I'll attach a note saying, "Sorry, Jerry, when we went out to lunch, we didn't realize how expensive this restaurant would be."
That's gonna sound pretty lame.
But it's the truth. We don't normally go out for extravagant lunches. Jerry knows that. He'll believe us.
All right.
Great.
No, I don't get it either. You would think the work would level out after a while. Last week, we had... Uh-oh.
What is it?
I forgot to put 3 hours of overtime on last week's timesheet. Did you get down yours?
Yeah.
Oh, what am I gonna do? I don't want to have to go through the rigmarole of getting a correction made. I got better things to do.
Just put 3 hours on this week's overtime.
Yeah?
That's what I would do. It all comes out the same. You're not bending the rules that much. Look, they'd spend more money on bookkeeping costs, correcting the error, than on what you get paid for 3 hours overtime.
What would you do?
No. I'm gonna find out what the right thing is and do it.
What about System 25 for Duotech?
We're ready to go, but the customer isn't.
I'd sure like to know who set up the installation date on that one.
Well, don't cancel. I don't want to lose System 25. Our biggest problem is the collection quota. Not going to make it this month for the second month in a row.
I know you're right. I mean, I don't know how we're going to make it either. I mean, there are no other bills we can collect on right now.
Suppose we make an adjustment on the Duotech sale.
What do you mean?
Call it an error. Take it off the books until installation is complete. Then we have some breathing room until we have to collect on the bill.
Kate, that's against the rules.
It's only $19,000. It's low enough so we don't have to go outside of the branch for approval. Who's to know? I don't set the quotas.
Ray's boss believes that circumstances justify breaking the rules on company records. But Ray knows there are valid business reasons as well for not doing what Kate has requested. He feels uneasy. He's been ordered by a supervisor to break company rules. What would you do?
Kate? I'm sorry, but I really feel that you're asking me to do something that I think is wrong, and I just don't feel comfortable doing it.
Ray, if you don't like my idea, then what's the alternative? I don't see that we have any options for making our quota. There you are. It's the simplest way. Dollars add up the same in the end.
Good morning, Ray.
Morning, Steve. Got a minute?
What's up?
I lost a lot of sleep last night because Kate asked me to do something that I think is wrong. Now, you're the boss here, and I really feel I have to run this past you.
Come into my office. We'll talk.
If a supervisor orders you to break company rules, don't do it. Tell your supervisor of your objections. If you're unable to resolve the problem with your supervisor, you have the right to go over the supervisor's head, because no employee can ask another to violate the code of conduct. And meeting a quota is never as important as doing business ethically.
Hey, Dad, come here! Dad!
Yeah?
Look what happened.
What's wrong?
I was just cleaning it,
Mm-hmm.
and it got stuck. So I pushed on it, just a little bit, and it snapped real easy.
Just a little bit, huh? Well, let me take a look. Maybe I can fix it.
See it?
Oh, yeah, I see it, all right. No, that can't be fixed. Now, Rich, you remember when I showed you how to clean the inside of the printer, that you have to be very, very careful around this equipment?
Can't you fix it?
No, it can't be fixed. That can't be repaired. I'm going to have to replace that switch, and you are going to have to wait until Saturday when I can get to the store.
Oh, Dad, I have to print out my stuff for science class. It's due Friday.
No.
Can't you get one of these from work? There must be thousands of these at work. Couldn't you bring one home tomorrow?
Richie, that's just not the way things are...
Is AT&T going to miss it? Probably cost them a whole $1.
Maybe less.
Well?
What would you do?
Well?
Hey, what do you want? Me to get fired? Oh, look, Richie, I know your project is important to you, but so's doing the right thing. I mean, stealing is stealing. I can't be bringing things home from work for personal use. Not this, or a box of diskettes, not even a box of pencils. What we use at home, we have to pay for. Oh, I'm sorry, Rich. Listen, maybe I can find somebody to print your file out for you. Hmm?
All right.
AT&T places a high value on honesty. Honesty in dealing with our customers, and honesty in how our employees deal with the company's assets, including cash or supplies. When people begin to cut corners and justify what they think are minor violations, it inevitably wears down a person's internal standards and leads to much bigger problems.
Excuse me, you installing the phone system here?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm with Home and Realty, and we're going to be moving into this building in a couple of weeks. And we're looking at, maybe buying a Merlin system. And I was trying to figure out what to do about installation.
Oh, listen, I can give you a telephone number you can call to arrange for installation.
Oh, no, thanks. See, we're a small company, and I thought maybe I could pick up the Merlin system over at the phone center store and then, save some money by using an independent installer. I can save some money that way, right?
Oh, yeah. You want to be sure the installer knows what he's doing, though.
Oh, right. Well, I thought, maybe I could find an expert to install it. Now, you guys take extra jobs, don't you?
Oh, you mean on my own time?
Yeah.
Geez, I've never done a job outside like that. Yeah, I could use the money. Could this be done on a Saturday?
Sure. I'll tell you what. Take my card.
Okay.
Okay, great. Hope to hear from you.
Hi, Diane.
Hi, Matt.
Hey, I got a question for you. Yesterday, I ran into this guy from a realty company, and he wants me to install a Merlin system for him.
What, is an outside job?
Oh, yeah. I mean, my wife's expecting. I'd like to do it. I was just wondering what other people do. I mean, there's no problem with taking this kind of job, is there?
Well, I don't know, Matt. I think the company might be touchy about handling a phone system in your off hours.
What am I taking from AT&T? I mean, the customer's gonna buy a Merlin system down at the phone center store. If anything, I'm helping the company make a sale. I mean, this realty company, they'd probably go with a different system if they couldn't find some way to save on the installation.
Well, it may be true, but I think even if you're not using company tools and wiring, you still could be violating company rules with something like this.
Well, you take outside work.
Yeah, but I install car stereos, not Merlins. I think there's a difference.
Well, I'm not so sure I see a problem. I really like to take it.
What would you do?
Oh, I mean, I want to do what's right. But just the same, I don't want to miss out on a good opportunity.
Yeah, I know, we could all use extra money. But what you're talking about would be against the rules.
Well, I looked it up in a code book, and I'm not so sure that the rule applies to this kind of a job.
The code said that every employee's primary obligation is to the company. And any outside activity, like a second job, has to be kept totally separate from his or her employment with the company.
But does my installing a Merlin system really interfere with AT&T's business?
It does. First of all, you're competing with the company for the business of installing the system. And if you install it, he's going to ask you to maintain it. So then the company loses the contract for maintenance, along with opportunities to upgrade the system in the future.
Okay, well, forget the Merlin job. And I guess any job that ties in with my AT&T work is the wrong kind of job to take.
See, the training you've gotten from the company would, in effect, be subsidizing you in your outside job. If we do that, we'd be reducing the amount of work available to our own employees. And if that went on long enough, we'd be putting ourselves out of jobs.
When you engage in outside employment that's related to your AT&T employment, you increase the risk of putting yourself in an actual or potential conflict of interest. All actual or potential conflicts must be discussed with your supervisor.
Ready?
Oh, just a sec. I've just got one more thing here, and then we can go. Ah, there.
Gail, you're not going to leave your system logged down like that, are you?
I always leave Pegasus open. We're in a secure building.
I think you're asking for trouble if you leave it logged down with privileged access.
Oh, Janet, I know. I should add passwords, but let me do it tomorrow, all right? We gotta get going. Even a system administrator ought to get home on time once in a while. I'll lock the door to be safe, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Who? Really? Yeah. Oh, I haven't seen him. I can't remember his name.
We're in, Chris. Boy, did we hit it. Passwords never changed, and no password on the system administrator. Now, we own the system! Let's see who Pegasus is networked to.
Hi. Morning.
Hi, Gail. Do you want some coffee?
Oh, love some, thanks. Rob, has someone been using my terminal this morning?
No, couldn't have. Door was still locked when I came in.
A whole list of files have been transferred out to someone with the code name of Freaker. Oh, I hope this doesn't mean what I think it means.
A hacker? Try rebooting it.
No good. Rob, I'm worried.
Look, even if a hacker did crash the system, you can still reload from your backup.
Well, that'll get the system back up. But those backup files are 3 or 4 weeks old. That means we've just lost a whole month's work.
The hacker has your last month's work? How much else did he get?
A lot. And all of it proprietary. Personnel records, payroll records, files even our own employees aren't allowed to go into. Oh.
How could he have gotten in?
What would you have done to prevent this? Every employee is responsible and accountable for computer system security. It's essential that good network and password security be maintained to prevent unauthorized intrusion into AT&T's computer systems.
morning, Mr. O'Connell's office.
Hello. I'd like to speak to Mr. O'Connell, please.
I'm sorry, Mr. O'Connell's on vacation this week. May I take a message?
No, no message. I'll call next week.
All right.
Thanks. Goodbye.
Barbara Keller's office.
Hello. Is Barbara in?
I'm sorry, Barbara's at a conference.
Oh, I see. Well, do you know if she'll be back in the office?
May I ask what this is in reference to?
Jeff Rollins.
Hello, Jeff. This is Corrine Patterson in product support.
I'm writing up a release on the new chipset that your group has been working on, and I was wondering if you just give me a minute
To verify some of these items I have.
Actually, I'm not working on that project directly. Barbara Keller would be more familiar with this. I can transfer you.
Well, yes, actually, I usually work with Barbara, but she's out of the office all day at a conference, and her boss is on vacation. And, you know, I really need to finish this today and get it back to my boss. I wonder if you couldn't help me with just a few of the things
Things that I've got written here.
Okay. What have you got?
Great. The AMIU interface chipset is a communications device that allows
Digital transmission across two wires at the same time.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, am I correct that the chipset performs
clock recovery functions, echo cancellation, and allows full duplex local loop with a loop range of 36 dp?
The part about the loop range is incorrect. The loop range is actually 38 dp.
Uh-huh. And when are you planning to announce the product?
In about 2 months.
And availability?
General availability, 6 months.
And will the new chipset be priced higher than the set it's replacing?
I'm surprised you're asking for all this information. We don't usually go into this much detail in our releases. I think I should take your number and call you back.
Oh, we don't have to go through that, do we? Look, I have got to get this out today. And I've only got one more question to ask. How will the price compare?
No, let me get back to you. What's your number?
555-8643.
Okay, I'll call you right back.
Thanks. Goodbye.
What would you do?
We're sorry. Your call cannot be completed as dialed. Please check the number and dial again.
Say, Jack, is 555 a phone exchange for any AT&T office you know of?
Good morning, product support.
Hi, I'm looking for Corrine Patterson. She works in product support, doesn't she?
I'll check. Just a moment. No, there's no one by that name in any of our offices.
Okay, thanks for your help.
Sorry.
Goodbye.
Corporate security.
Hello, this is Jeffrey Rollins. I just got a really strange call from Corrine Patterson, who claims to be in product support. She started to ask me some very detailed questions about our new chipsets, and I got suspicious.
Are you sure she doesn't work in product support?
Yeah, and I asked for her number so I could call her back, and it turned out to be non-working. And then I called product support. They said they have no one by that name.
Okay, what exactly did she ask you?
She started asking me about the new chipsets.
Actually, we've had a number of these situations recently.
That doesn't sound good. Think how much an outsider like this Corrine Patterson might already have learned about our chips.
It's very possible. But you did the right thing in getting off the line and attempting to verify her identity. And calling us right away with this information will help our investigation.
The investigation to determine the extent of information compromised and to whom depends a great deal on promptly contacting corporate security whenever suspicious calls are received. To protect our proprietary information, know who you're talking to. Next time, it may not be a telephone caller. It could be a person eavesdropping at the next table in a restaurant or seated beside you in a plane. It pays to be careful.
Well, somebody's got to come out and say it. We're not going to make our deadline.
Oh, no. I feel like we're so close.
Yeah, but we're just not there with the yield.
Well,
look, I'll tell you what. Let's go over where we stand with the reliability qualification just one more time. Do you remember the initial success we had with the situation?
Oh, excuse me, Ron.
Yeah.
Remember, there's a job candidate that we have to meet at 11?
Oh, you're right. I forgot. Well, I tell you what. Let's go talk to this guy for a little while, and then we can come back here, put our heads together, and deal with this problem, all right?
Fine.
So, you've done a fair amount of work on fine-line CMOS technology.
Yes, I certainly have.
Well, that's exactly what we've been working on in our lab. I guess that's why they sent you over here to talk to us, huh? I gotta tell you that your expertise on multi-level metal and reliability qualifications is something we could really use around here.
Well, as a matter of fact, we just successfully completed mil-spec qualifications of 0.6 micron 3-level metal process for our twin-tub CMOS.
Pretty good.
Yeah, but to make it practical, you have to pick the right lithography process.
Of course, we have. We're using a mix of steppers and direct write with tri-level photoresist.
Oh, it sounds expensive. I mean, I'd have to wonder what the per-wafer cost might come to, you know?
Well, our goal is to achieve $120 per 8-inch wafer before probe by 1990.
Interesting. I guess you must have seen a business plan then.
I'd like to hear something about your PhD dissertation.
Well, I went to Berkeley, did my dissertation there, and my thesis dealt with the properties of group 3-5 compound semiconductors. Thanks again.
Take care.
Appreciate the time.
Ron?
Yeah?
Don't you think we get a little too far in there?
What do you mean?
Yeah, well, you two were getting really into detail about his company's technology.
Well, of course we were. That's why we're interviewing him. That's his specialty.
Well, yes, I know, but you guys just a little bit too far.
Oh, now, wait a minute. I didn't ask him one thing about proprietary information. I mean, he volunteered that. He offered it to us.
Yes, but...
And I didn't tell him anything about our proprietary information. I mean, look, we're going to hire this guy anyway. And won't he end up giving it to us in the end? Relax.
What would you do?
Oh, Art, listen. You've had a lot of management experience. How much trouble is it if we ask a candidate about proprietary information?
Well, come on in. You see, the Code of Conduct states that we need to respect the proprietary information of any third parties. So in a job interview situation, you can't pump a candidate for that kind of information.
No?
Proprietary information really shouldn't be discussed at all. See, the rule of thumb is that we hire people based on their general knowledge, their skills, and their experience. Now, of course, if a If a third party publishes information or fails to take reasonable steps to protect it, then it may lose its proprietary status.
Well, what if a person like that gets hired? Can he use proprietary information on our project?
Oh, no. He's not allowed to. And if one of our people goes to work for somebody else, the same rule applies. He or she may not use any of our proprietary information in the new job.
I see.
Then there's another common situation where AT&T has a working relationship with a third party. Now, that may be a joint venture, for instance. Then AT&T will sign a non-disclosure agreement with that third party, which strictly limits the use of any proprietary information that we may have obtained during the course of our work. Basically, we have to treat their proprietary information as our own.
It's not a simple situation to be in, is it?
No, it isn't. And the thing is that each new situation is just different enough from the last one so that it becomes a kind of a puzzler. That's why it pays to ask if you're not sure.
Oh, yeah, did I tell you? Max is going to be at this meeting. Eileen can't make it.
So we should be sure we've got a lot of caffeine on hand.
Now, Max is very lively at these meetings. Now, my next view graph projects these market share estimates into the 23rd century. Now, these projections, and very interesting projections they are, too, are something we're definitely going to have to get hold of in the very near future.
Well, I hear laughter in here. Things must be shaping up.
Well, I think we're going to have a great day tomorrow, but then who pays any attention to me, right? Oh, by the way, Margaret, do you mind if I borrow Beth for about an hour after work tonight? I'd like to run through the presentation once more.
Beth, you wouldn't have a problem staying, would you?
No.
Well, good luck.
Thanks.
So Patty's meeting us over there for a drink. Seems like months since we've gotten together.
Hey, you two look terrific. Where are you going tonight?
We're meeting friends at Casey's pub.
Well, if I was there, I'd give consideration to picking you up.
What a lech.
Hey, I thought we had a date tonight to polish my presentation. Looks good to me.
Vince, I'm really worried about getting this work done on time.
You've been under a lot of stress lately, haven't you? I mean, I heard you and your boyfriend called it quits. I knew it had been an on-again, off-again sort of thing, but I guess it's over for good now, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I know how that feels. I've been there myself ever since my marriage ended, you know. You know what helped me get through the tough times? My friends. Friends who were there when I needed them. You shouldn't take friendship for granted, Beth. And don't think that our friendship ends at quitting time either.
He makes suggestive remarks and jokes that are disgusting. It goes on week after week, and it's getting to the point where I dread coming to work. Last night, he even touched me when he was making one of his advances. I just can't stand it. I don't want his hands on me. I don't want to have anything to do with him. I'm sorry to have to bring this to you, but you're my boss. I need help. I really can't handle this.
Have there been any witnesses to these incidents? Has anyone overheard these suggestive remarks?
I don't think so. He always waits until we're alone.
Has anyone seen him touching you?
Not that I know of.
Beth, there is always a lot of talk between the men and the women in this office, and everyone knows it doesn't mean anything. Now, Vince does it with everyone, with Sue, with Lisa, Helen, with me, too. And Jerry makes jokes with everyone in the office, and frankly, it is not all that unusual to see you and Vince joking together in his office. Now, remember yesterday...
That's just what I was saying. When you were there, he made it seem completely innocent. As soon as you left, it changed. It's different when I'm alone with him. He makes jokes that have humiliating double meanings. He did it again yesterday. I just can't get him to stop.
Do you really want to make an issue out of this? I mean, these things just happen in the workplace. It is very difficult to draw the line between everyday talk and harassment. Now, look, up until now, you've done very well here. And I think you just can't let these things bother you. Now, maybe you just have to be a little bit tougher. Why don't you go up to, just make it clear to him that you are not interested. Don't flirt with him. Don't lead him to believe in any way that you're coming on to him, all right? Now, if that doesn't work, well, then maybe we'll arrange a transfer for you.
What kind of help should the supervisor give to Beth?
Is it really just my fault? How come I'm the only one who thinks it's a problem? Have I been doing things to let it continue? That's what has me so confused. If I just let it be, will he get tired of it and leave me alone? And what if he doesn't leave me alone? I don't want to transfer to another office. I've proven myself here. I'm ready for a promotion. I could go to EO, but what's Vince going to do to me afterwards? They're going to label me a troublemaker. And when that happens, there goes my career.
What would you tell Beth? Beth decided to take her complaint to the Equal Opportunity Group. She had done the right thing in going to her supervisor, but Margaret showed little sensitivity to the problem and failed to properly carry out her responsibilities as a supervisor. Although Beth was worried about having to transfer out of the office to escape the problem, the investigation could result in any of a number of options to resolve the situation with Vince. There's no one fixed way to handle a suspected case of harassment, but here are a few of the basic procedures for getting started on a solution. Report sexual harassment to your supervisor. If this does not result in a resolution of the situation, report the harassment to the Equal Opportunity Group. Even if an employee does not make a complaint, a supervisor who suspects sexual harassment has the responsibility to talk to the employee. The company considers sexual harassment to be as serious a violation as any other issue covered by the Code of Conduct.
Hey, Brian, you on the bowling team or not?
I've had a lot of stuff around the house to take care of the last couple of weeks.
Well, come on, Brian. We need a real man on the team. We're floundering with the guys we've got now.
Well, Brian's the man for you. He just bought 2 new balls.
Gross, Marty. Real gross.
When you boys grow up, let us know.
Hey, you used to be our ace player. You coming back or what?
Oh, you know what it's like with a new baby in the house. I'll see if I can make it Wednesday. You know.
I think I'm in love. Brian, I don't know what it is, but every time I see Sharon walk by at lunchtime, I get a craving for a couple of melons.
You got that right.
Marty, how many times do I have to ask you to knock it off?
Ah, got your eye on something sweet, huh?
Yeah, I'll take her for dessert.
Can we get a few more girls like her on our line?
Yeah, I'll see what I can do. Yeah, it sure makes the day go faster watching these young babes go by. Yeah, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Not getting enough, huh? Well, sleep with me.
Just stretching my back, Marty.
Oh, come on, Sharon. Everybody knows what happens at your boyfriend's place on the lake. Just the perfect place to practice the breaststroke.
Don't you have some work you could do, Marty?
Just let me have one little squeeze, and I'll die a happy man.
What would you do?
Don, can I talk to you for a second?
Yeah, sure.
I'm really having a problem with Marty.
Yeah?
He keeps making these crude remarks, sexual jokes, every time he can find me alone on the floor.
Well, look, if it bothers you, why don't you just try telling him to stop it?
I have tried to tell him, but it doesn't do any good. Can you try to talk to him? You're our supervisor. You're the one I'm supposed to come to with something like this.
Yeah, but, you know, I have to know there's a real problem here. You know, this kind of accusation is pretty serious.
It is a real problem. How many examples do I need to give you? You've seen it yourself.
Look, Sharon, there's a lot of joking that goes on around here. We've got a casual work environment in this plant, and, you know, I think that's a good thing. Sure, I hear some kidding from time to time, but you know, most people just take it in stride. It's just part of the routine here. Don't take it so seriously.
I've got a problem with Don. He's ignoring my complaint about Marty. If I have to go over his head, would you back me up?
Oh.
You've heard enough of Marty's jokes to really give them an earful.
I don't know, Sharon. You start making a lot of complaints, and sooner or later, it just comes back at you. You know what I mean?
You're the best witness I could bring in. Everyone really respects you.
But it's not gonna do me any good. I've been waiting a long time for this promotion. Isn't there anybody else you can ask, Sharon?
What responsibilities do employees have to one another? What responsibilities do supervisors have to their subordinates? What would you do?
Dear Sharon, I've been thinking about what you asked me to do. And I'm going to support you if you still need my help.
Sharon finally decided to take her complaint to the Equal Opportunity Group. She had done the right thing in going to her supervisor, but Don showed little sensitivity to the request and failed to properly carry out his responsibilities as a supervisor. He also contributed to Sharon's problem by fostering an atmosphere in which demeaning sexual jokes were permitted. The investigation could result in any of a number of options to resolve Sharon's situation with Marty. There is no one fixed way to handle a suspected case of harassment, but here are a few of the procedures for getting started on a solution. Report sexual harassment to your supervisor. If this does not result in a resolution of the situation, report the harassment to the Equal Opportunity Group. Even if an employee does not make a complaint, a supervisor who suspects sexual harassment has the responsibility to talk to the employee. The company considers sexual harassment to be as serious a violation as any other issue covered by the Code of Conduct.
The situations you just saw are based on real incidents. Most had a clearly right or wrong answer. But of course, not all situations are so black and white. An individual has to weigh the issues carefully before reaching a decision. So if you find yourself faced with an ethical dilemma that's not covered by the code, and you're not sure where you stand, talk to some coworkers, people you trust, who have the experience to give you good advice. Also, talk to your supervisor. If your supervisor doesn't have an immediate answer, he or she can check with the experts on that particular issue. Frankly, people who commit unethical acts don't belong at AT&T. Such acts are cause for disciplinary action, up to and including dismissal, even for a first offense. I hope this tape has better prepared you to make the right decisions. As individual employees, we can all take pride in our company's reputation for honesty and integrity for the past 100+ years. I know that each of us will make it a personal responsibility to continue down the right road in the years ahead.
When faced with making a tough ethical decision, here are some hints on what you might ask yourself before making that decision. Will the decision seem like the right one a year from now? Would you be embarrassed to tell your boss and your other managers about your intentions? What would your family say? Could you get on the witness stand in a court of law with no qualms? And what should you do if you become aware of an unethical act committed by someone else, even by your supervisor? The answer is as simple as picking up the telephone and calling AT&T Corporate Security at 1-800-822-9009. Employees working overseas can call Corporate Security at area code 201-580-8281. The company's policy is very clear. No adverse action will be taken against an employee for making such reports in good faith and on the basis of reasonable belief. No company is more ethical than its people, and the people of AT&T make proper conduct their personal responsibility.